Chris Mill with Project Health and Wellness, and I hope everyone is having a great day. And so today I'm interviewing Rain, and we all know the importance of working on mind, body, and spirit. And so Rain is going to tell us her accomplishment as far as working her mind and getting her mind to the next level. So Rain, just tell us a little bit about yourself, and you just finished up your PhD.
Yes.
Okay.
So I have a PhD in community psychology, and I have in my career worked with communities all over the world. And I was sharing with Chris that as I was growing up as a child, education was always emphasized. So a lot of my life, that was my focus. And also another thing that was always emphasized was spirituality. And so that was my focus. So I went to school and I got right with the higher power. And I feel I reached a stage in my life where I feel confidence in my spirituality and in my education. And now I found myself shifting to looking at the physical. It's not that I totally ignored that. Mm-hmm. It's just that it wasn't necessarily in the forefront. Mm-hmm. And I observed that not only in myself, but a lot of my peers, mm-hmm. that we have that spiritual down. We have that education, set. Mm-hmm. And we've neglected our bodies. Mm-hmm. So that's brought me to this conversation about what is next for me, mm-hmm. in terms of my own personal growth and development. And it's the physical.
So, Rain, why do you think it's so difficult to work on the physical? Why do so many people struggle with taking care of their bodies?
Well, I think the first thing I think of is, in many ways, education has been stressful, because you're striving for that accomplishment, especially when you're at the level of the PhD or graduate work. And then for a lot of us, food becomes the go-to thing for comfort. One way that I could express the physical is growing up in the South. We had big dinners, and so food was like given to you as nourishment. Like, oh, you got to eat so you're strong, and make sure you get a good solid meal. And I was blessed to have a mother who from first grade to 12th grade, I know I had a hot meal every day when I came home from school. And so food was sort of not necessarily in the front, but sort of in the foreground as a comfort. And so as you're growing and develop as a teenager, and then your early 20s, when you're going through all those challenges, that's something that sort of is going through for comfort. And the 20-year-old body can handle that. The 30-year-old body, you're pretty good with it. But as you start to get older, then something different is needed. And so then I'm at the stage now where, especially looking at my peers, some of the challenges they've had health-wise, and even some people in my family, that I need to focus on my health and well-being. It's critical. So that's brought me to the conversation.
So how do you apply the discipline from getting your PhD? And congratulations.
Thank you.
An accomplishment. But how do you take that discipline of getting that PhD to working on your health and your wellness?
Well, one thing about me that I discovered about myself is I do very well inside of a structure. Like, I could go to class, so I just shift the class. What I would like to start doing is going to swimming classes, because I love being in the water. I love swimming. I also have in the past, I've done this before in the past. I had swimming classes, loved it. I also have taken belly dance classes. And that seems like an exercise that's not rigorous, but it's extremely rigorous, and you get a really good workout. And so I want to do things that I enjoy that are fun. So I enjoy swimming. I enjoy the belly dance, the music and the movement and all of that. And then I also enjoy like walking, like hiking in nature. And so those are things that are in my plan to do. And I haven't sat down and said, okay, this is the class, and I'm approaching that to do that.
That's really good. So it sounds like you have a plan. And so we know how important it is to have a plan of action. And when you're looking at the mental, the spiritual, and the physical, would you agree that you have to have a plan to work on all three? Because if not, then one is going to outweigh the other. So if you had to give some words of advice as far as working on all three, like what would those words be? So as far as working on that mental, would it be just reading books maybe every 5 or 10 minutes a day, or spiritual, spending a little time maybe reading the Bible or whatever your religious beliefs are, or doing some type of exercise? So what kind of advice would you be able to give someone? I mean, and you obtained a PhD, so
Right.
that's hard work. That's very hard.
Well, those are all good ideas that you suggested. And for me, I encourage people to get still and listen to their own internal compass.
Right.
Like, what is life saying to you?
Right.
And so life might be saying, I want to go back to school now.
Right.
And do that mental thing, or it might lead you to a book that you've always wanted to read that's spiritually minded. Or it might tell you we want to do walks every day. Or lately what it's been saying to me is just slowly introduce more vegetables and more green into your diet. And I've been noticing how I could have this huge commitment that I'm going to eat healthily, and as soon as I go home and they lay that southern food,
Right.
all of that goes out the window.
Right.
But the powerful thing is, in the past, I would just blindly go into it without even thinking.
Right.
And now I notice that that's what I do.
Right.
So when I'm present, that food is going to be there, I can choose. So I might not eat everything that's on the buffet and stack my plate up high. I might just take a little taste of everything.
Right.
And then if there's something I really like, focus on that. And then I notice in my body telling me, you know what, you've had enough, to listen that I've had enough. Even though I'm like, wait a minute, how I was raised when you're with the family, everybody just eat until they can't eat no more, But I've had enough and I'm satisfied. And so I started listening to that internal voice versus that other thing, the cultural thing, like, oh man,
Right.
like that.
So you said a key word was to be present.
Yes.
To be present. I think a lot of us, we don't mindfully eat, meaning that when we eat, we're actually paying attention of the food that we're putting in our bodies and actually listening to our bodies. When our body says, stop eating, we're full, so there's no sense of overeating.
Yeah.
So that's really good. So I just got one last question for you, and whatever you want to add afterwards. But why is it important? And this is what Project Health and Wellness is all about, is working on all three, the mind, body, and spirit. And we all face challenges in life and heartaches, and some of us lose jobs, and we have friends and families that are battling cancer. Just from your experience, why is it important to focus on all three, on mind, body, and spirit, especially when you are dealing with, maybe a death in the family?
Well, I feel that all of us came to this planet with a purpose.
Okay.
And the equipment that we were given was our mind, our body, and our spirit
Right.
to work that purpose.
Right.
And when it's just like if you have a 3-legged table, if one of those legs is not in order, then it's going to make the whole table vulnerable. So I have to focus on my body, my mind, and my spirit. And I see, like, with my purpose and what I'm up to is a world of joy and wonder for children. That's one of the key aspects of my work in community psychology. I want to have as much longevity as possible. That's within my control to have. And I know taking care of my health and well-being is an avenue towards that. And just one other thing in terms of getting still and like really engaging yourself in that dialogue for yourself and getting more conscious. As an African American woman, as I walk around our community, I look at my beautiful sisters and in some ways my beautiful brothers, and I look at the obesity that's there. And sometimes it's painful to see because I will say, like, wow, what is she doing with her body? Or I might have a judgment, but really that's me.
Right.
I could say the same thing about me.
Right.
And we're beautiful, we're dynamic, and all of that. But then, what would it look like for us to be healthy?
Absolutely.
You know,
Right.
what would it look like for us to do that? And that's the question I'm engaged in with myself. That I have recently come to the place where I accept my body just as it is and just as it isn't. But then I'm engaged in the conversation, what would it look like if I really was committed to my health and well-being, and if I ate the way my inner spirit told me to, which it tells me to fruits, vegetables, drink water. I know all of these things, and I feel like I've reached a point in my life when it's time to really listen deeply, because people like me who have a big commitment to community and to healing and to leadership, we need to be fit and we need to be ready to do the work that we need to do. And so that's for all of us.
You know, you said a key word, being committed. Because if you're not committed to working on yourself daily, spiritually, mentally, and physically, then you're going to fall short. And I firmly believe that it catches up to us at some point in life. And so I mean, I truly commend you what you're doing, and I see that as you finding that self-awareness. I mean, you know, some people say, okay, I have my PhD, I'm good. But you say, no, I'm not good, because I know that there are other areas in my life that I need to work on because I want to serve my purpose. And if we want to serve our purpose at the highest level, then we have to be fit mentally, spiritually, and physically. So any encouragement that you want to offer to anyone out there that's watching this video?
Well, I feel like you're worth it. You know, you're worth it. And we have to engage that mental, the spiritual, and the physical, because I have friends who, just like me, we are competent spiritually. We could motivate you spiritually from here until forever. We are very well educated. And then I have friends who they're starting to have breakdowns in their bodies because of the indulgence of things that we knew weren't good for us. And, you know, and so no matter how successful you are, it's like comes to a point, your body is critical. It's important to honor that temple that we were given. And so I feel like just even to start with baby steps, because I know when I choose salads and green vegetables, and just to notice that I just feel differently. And sometimes when I go on a fast or I'm like really eating clean, the messages just start, it just increases the spirituality and I'm clear mentally. So I think it's like all, what do you call it? It's all like the three chord working together. It's like not easily broken. You're not easily, oh, I like that. If you have those three legs working together powerfully, it's not easy to break you.
Absolutely.
When things happen, you can't easily be broken. And I want to say to you, Chris, that's why I really appreciate meeting you and having someone who has that commitment in the community, like where you come from, those three areas. It feels right, you know, and I think we need have that voice out there in the community and the representation of that, you know, the running the marathons and walking and swimming and exercising and of all ages. I love to see the gray-haired women in there with their tights and stuff and they exercising and the young people dancing and exercising, like whatever it takes to move that body, to move it.
Absolutely. Rain,
Yeah.
I greatly appreciate it, and that was the reason why I wanted to take on this project, and to be able to spread the word of importance of just living healthy and well. And you know, we don't realize it, but there are so many aspects of our lives that it affects us in our health and our wellness, and we just don't realize it. You know, just like if people that are financially sick, you know, that are struggling financially, then that causes stress on the body, and then stress to the body eventually causes diseases. So my lifelong goal is to be able to just bring awareness, and I appreciate you just taking the time to speak to everyone. You know, I don't care how many people watch this video, to be honest with you. I just want that one person who needs this to be able to receive it, because we never know who's on that other side, who's watching this, who's in the same situation as you, and just needs a little bit of encouragement just to get started. And one of the takeaways I got from you was just start small. We don't have to go 0 to 100, and I say that all the time, is if we go 0 to 100, then we're going to fail, we're going to fall, right? Just like the process of you getting your PhD, that was a process.
It was a process.
It did not happen overnight.
That's right.
And it took a lot of trials and errors, and I'm sure like staying up late at night and writing papers, but you got through it.
I did.
And I truly believe that if anything is worth it, it's going to take time. And we can't look at our wellness as just a quick fix. This is not something that you're just going to do for a couple of months.
It's a lifelong journey.
This is a life journey. And I'll be honest with you, I say this, many are called, but few are chosen. This life is not for everyone, but if you are willing to be open and to be committed and to take on the challenges that are going to come, then this life is for you. I think the majority of us out here will do it for a certain period of time, and then we just give up. Or we're only consistent for a couple of weeks because we've gone 0 to 100, and now we're burned out.
Right.
And so my advice to you is just to start slow and just enjoy the process, because being healthy and well doesn't have to be grueling. You don't have to be in the gym for an hour, 2 hours, and it's not about that. And even the healthy foods, there are healthy foods that you can eat that taste good.
Yeah.
But again, congratulations for reaching that achievement mentally, and congratulations for reaching that achievement spiritually, and congratulations to being aware of where you need to be physically.
Yeah. And I use your Facebook too, because that's another part of the physical, is like the motivation and the affirmations. When you say great Monday morning, and I might say, really? But I'm still left with great Monday morning.
Right.
Like, okay. And then when you put the recipes of the beautiful salads and things like that, it's conditioning my mind.
Absolutely.
That's what's a part of my life. That's how I eat.
Absolutely.
And so I'm like, wow, I want to try that recipe out.
Yeah.
So that's a contribution too, and that's one of the tools I use is your Facebook.
Well, I appreciate it. And you said a very key word. It's just mindset. And that's the reason why I put information out. When I say great Saturday morning or great Monday morning, it is great. I believe that everything starts with how we perceive life.
Yes.
I believe that the words that we speak out into the universe, we get that energy back. And so even if I wake up in the morning and I don't feel great, I'm going to post that this is a great Monday morning. And I look at it from the standpoint of being thankful for being able to get up in the morning, to be able to do the things I enjoy doing. And so I don't allow external factors to disturb my spirit. And that is something that I teach in my classes, is we get up in the morning, and when we go out into the world, then we're faced with these external factors, and it dictates how we feel about ourselves and how we feel about our day. And so the goal is not to allow those external factors to shift you left or to shift you right. And so if you speak those words of affirmation, like I am going to lose weight, I'm going to find a job, I'm going to be successful, then I promise you it's going to happen. And so the only thing that you're doing when you're saying those words is you're reconditioning your mindset.
Yeah.
And so, Rain, I do appreciate it. And I hope anyone out there that's watching this video, even if it's just one person, because I'm not big in numbers, I just don't care if it was 2 people that watch this video or if it's 1,000 people. But at the end of the day, I just want that one person who can get something from this message. And that's the reason why Rain does what she does, and that's the reason why I do what I do, and many others out there. And so it's not about a numbers game. It's about you getting this information and being able to apply it to your life. And I'm not perfect. I have my struggles. Rain, you have your struggles.
Yes.
And I don't want anybody to think by far that I am not perfect. I struggle. There are mornings I don't want to get up and work out. There's mornings where I'm like, I can pass today, but I try to keep myself encouraged. And I appreciate your support, Rain, and I appreciate everyone that follows me on Facebook and on Instagram and just listens out to what I post. And so I greatly appreciate it. So I hope that everyone has a great, you hear the word great?
Great.
Great weekend. So If you say great, it's going to be a great weekend. Thank you so much for tuning in, and be safe. And this is Chris and Rain from Project Health and Wellness. Until next time.